Hello everyone, my name is Jenna, but you guys can call me Jen. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Hi, hello! Welcome to an extra little video. Happy 1 year anniversary to my first book baby, A Second Story. It's a year officially today! This came out on May 11th, 2023. My beautiful boys, this is my queer cozy fantasy set by the sea, where two adventurers, Ari and Finn, fall in love, go on a vacation to a seaside town together, and decide to actually settle down there, renovate the old bookstore, and turn it into a brand new one. Breathe some life back into the town, if you will. I don't really know what this video is gonna be, other than me just gushing about the fact that it's been 1 year of me and this book. Hello friends, Editing Jenna popping in here. I wanted to let you guys know that in honor of A Second Story being 1 year old, I am hosting a giveaway for an annotated copy of A Second Story. I will send it anywhere in the world. All that I asked you to do and how to enter, you must donate at least $5 to any family trying to evacuate Rafah and Gaza. There's a bunch of GoFundMe pages. Go check out Operation Olive Branch. I will leave that linked down below. And Pass the Hat by Erin Hattemer. There are so many families out there who need our help. You gotta go donate to them and then send me via my email, it's in my link tree, proof of that donation. Any $5 donation gets you an entry. If you donate $25 to a family, that gets you multiple entries, $50, even more entries, $100, 10 entries, that kind of a thing. But $5 is all you need. And if you want to donate to multiple families, each of those families' donations that you prove to me that you've done will count as a donation as well and as an entry. This is going to be running until Friday, May 17th. So definitely keep up on my social medias because that's where I will be announcing this. And I thank you guys so much. And I really hope, really hope you join in. But yes, to celebrate a year, I'm hosting a giveaway of an annotated one-of-a-kind copy of A Second Story. I'm so excited. I figured we could do like a little bit of a numbers update just for this book alone, because I've been doing numbers updates periodically on TikTok every once in a while about my self-publishing process, because not only in 2023 did I publish this one, but I did publish A Little Luck, of course, in the fall. But that, A Year of A Little Luck, will come out in October. It has been a year of my boys out in the world, blessing people with the wonderful queer story that it is. I could not be happier. This book not only made my author dreams come true, but it taught me a lot about my writing style and what I was capable of. And I think actually setting out to do this, to come up with the idea and successfully go through every aspect of self-publishing to thus publish this on my own, figuring things out, was so needed and really helpful for me as a writer and as a creator as well. So I guess we'll just start at the beginning. We'll start at the beginning and we'll talk about the journey and of all that kind of stuff. So this book idea, this series idea, first started after I read Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. Of course it did. Legends and Lattes seems to be the inspiration for so many people and so many authors. That next morning when I woke up the next day, my brain was just brimming with ideas. And so I had recently gotten this little notebook from my dad. He just had extras lying around from his work, and I pulled it out and immediately started writing down ideas as to like what cozy story I could write. I knew because I already had a world set up. I had my big world of Revar, which I created back when I was trying to figure out Project Dragon stuff, and that's when I was really fleshing everything out, and I ran a couple D&D games in this, and it's my world. It's my fantasy world that I have dabbled in a few projects. I picked a town that like was just around on this map that I have, and I decided to brain dump in this little book a list of things that I could do and what I wanted to do with this low stakes, high fantasy story. So I wrote down one book equals one full story set on a strip of businesses / homes in one of my cities somewhere by the sea. And then I wrote in big capital letters, Arrowmount. So I picked Arrowmount. Each story concerns a resident there. And then I just started listing different people that could be there. Like the first one was a musician and a bard, art collector, a dealer, a possible fence, which as you probably can tell, those first two sort of made it into here in a little different form. An innkeeper, a lighthouse keeper, the family above the groceries, the magic shop, pub. And then I wrote Finn and Ari getting the life they deserve, wizard and old assassin in a bookstore. Why? Because previously, the story of Ari and Finn was one that I had cooked up for a D&D game. I had created a character in a D&D game, and I can't remember which one was first, if I was inspired by Merlin first, the show, BBC, Merlin and The Witcher. I can't remember if that one came first or if the D&D game came first. I can't remember. But around then, I was inspired by these stories where I wanted to take this character that I had in my head for Aurelius Damaris. It's probably the D&D game that came first, who was a bastard. And his backstory was so tragic. His backstory was essentially like, he was part of this like old cleric family, and he got kicked out one day because his mom didn't agree with his methods of things and his wants and needs as like to be a wizard. And so he got kicked out, and he met this man who he ended up going on an adventure with and falling in love with, a whirlwind romance for about a year. And then they got separated somehow. And then Ari was put on a team by a king that he worked under to hunt down this assassin who ended up being his lover. In that moment, he watched the party around him brutally kill his lover, and then Ari, in his grief, brutally killed everyone else in the party. So that was the original thought bubble for Aurelius. And then I think after that, I started getting this idea for like a episodic kind of adventure series for these two characters, because I wanted to write something that was I had been watching BBC's Merlin at the time, and it's so gay, but they don't lean into how gay it is. And I was so mad about it because I'm like, no, like Arthur and Merlin are so gay for each other. And so my brain started like pulling at this thread, and the idea was that I wanted to write an episodic adventure novel akin to like a D&D series, where I like pulled on the Arthurian legend and told this story about this mage Aurelius, who found this king, saved him, and like his task was to bring him back to his kingdom because the king didn't want to actually be king, and that would have been Finn. And on the way back to their kingdom, they would fall in love, they would have adventures, that kind of thing. It was like an episodic adventure novel that really went nowhere. So I just had these characters in my head, and I played that D&D game with Aurelius in it, and he was just so mean in that game, and he was just so stuck and sad and all this kind of stuff. So when I read Legends and Lattes, something in my brain like lit, and like a little itch started happening. And then when I wrote down Finn and Ari get the story that they deserve, instead of having that sad backstory where Ari watches Finn get absolutely murdered, they instead fall in love and open up a bookstore together. So I changed their backstory a little bit. I changed their story entirely, the ending at least, and created this lovely, cozy, sweet, soft book that I desperately needed at the time. It was kind of a couple years into COVID, and the cozy fantasy stories were starting to really take hold because a lot of people just realized how deeply we needed this soft, sweet, cozy fantasy that these cozier, community-filled, heart-filled books were giving. And I'm so glad for that, because this just, I really needed to write this, and I'm damn glad I did. So yes, I figured that out, and then I kept making more stories and more thoughts of like other people I could do. And then literally flip the page, I started writing the plot of what would happen in this book down, and I just couldn't stop. It was, I don't even know how many pages of just planning and planning about everything. And oh God, I was asking myself questions and coming up with characters on the way, and I couldn't stop. The plot for a second story basically just poured out of me. And I also, at that point, came up with the fact that I was going to pull another D&D character who's Sage in a second story. She was a D&D character that I thought up originally. I pulled her from my brain and put her on these pages too, because I figured I'd probably never ever end up able to play her, because I just don't have the opportunities to play in a lot of D&D campaigns, unfortunately. So I put her in this and brought her to life as this little bookstore clerk who was itching for adventure. And now, currently in 2024, I am working on her trilogy next, and I'm so excited about it. This came to life. I ended up doing a writing challenge in June of 2022, where I wrote the entire first draft of this story, 50 some odd thousand words, in 25 days. I couldn't stop. This story poured out of me. I've never had a story do that before. It was just fantastic. When I was planning this and when I was working on it, I decided at some point during that time that it was going to be a test for myself to self-publish these books, to learn the ropes of self-publishing and publish these as Travis Baldree originally did with the Legends and Lattes, to figure out the ropes of self-publishing and to see how I could do and actually put my foot in the publishing world that way. And I'm so glad I did, because as I said at the beginning of this video, I learned so much from finding ISBNs to learning how to format my own book to really realizing like what parts of the writing process that I enjoy the most. It's editing, of course, which is so funny to me because when I was younger, I hated editing and I never got past a first draft because I just kept writing new things. But now that I've actually gotten a book from idea to published, I know the process, I know my process, I know how well I work, I know what I can do, and I know that I can do it. It took me 11 months in total from the idea to the end of May. I started writing it in June 2022, and then it was published in May 2023. So it ended up being that 11-month kind of turnaround. Gosh, it was such a journey. I have a whole video on here that went up when a second story was published about my entire journey breakdown, what I did to publish this book. So I will leave that in the description down below if you want to go check that out. So I don't go into all that information one more time. But since that day, I have not gone a single month in this entire year where I have not sold a copy of this book. And that makes me so happy. As a tiny creator, as someone who's just starting out in her career, I think that I couldn't ask for more. I haven't made the big bucks. I have not broken even on how much I spent on a second story. I think I'm close though. I think I'm close because I keep a spreadsheet of like all of my spending and all of my earnings and stuff. I've made up almost the amount of paying one of my books because I think I spent about $1,700 on this one and then $1,100 or $1,200 on this one, getting them out in the world, which includes editing and the cover mainly and like copyright and all that kind of stuff. I think I'm very close to breaking even with this book, but it's hard to tell because I just keep everything all in one place for both books. So who's to really say where I'm at with the numbers on this? But I can tell you in 2023, I sold 255 copies of a second story. That is across Ingram Spark and Amazon, both print and digital. That's the amount of copies that I have sold in just 2023. In 2024, so far, I have sold 506 copies, which is all down to that one cozy sale I was a part of at the end of April, the Cozy the Day Away sale, which blew up a second story so much because the second story was offered for free on that sale. So a lot of people picked it up. So in total, since its birth into the world, I have sold over 760 copies. I think it's 765, maybe 767. I'm trying to remember how many I've sold on Ingram Spark this month because I've sold 4 copies of this on Amazon this month, and not including this month, I've sold 761 copies. Over 760 copies in total since its birth into the universe. And honestly, we're just looking up from here, my friends. I would love to just keep pushing this little queer book out into the world. And since I'm not publishing anything this year, all of my energy has gone into marketing this and also a little luck, just to try keep these little books flying off of the metaphorical shelf. And hopefully that just keeps going. I think the more people who get their hands on a copy, so that lovely cozy sale, the more people who read it, the more people who will talk about it, the more people who might be interested in it, and the more people who might buy it. So it's just a matter of getting movement going. And because I have 2 books out, because I know a lot of people have said that having a backlist as an indie author is one of the best things, because if someone comes across your books as you are selling them and marketing them, they might go, oh, I'm interested in that book, and they might read it and love it, and then go, wow, I wonder if that author has anything else. And then they realize you have a backlist, they get so excited and they read more things and they talk about you, right? So having more books out is always the goal, obviously, because I want to be an author. That is my career dream. I want to be an author. I am an author. I want to be a full-time author. That's the career goal and dream one day. I think that knowing that having a backlist out really was what pushed me to have A Little Luck out as well in the same year. And now that I have these 2 cozy fantasy books, that is my life. These are my life. And I'm so excited to have a 3rd one out in 2025 in this series, and then to actually go on and continue my writing journey with Sage's story next, which is gonna be Sage's trilogy. And then who knows what's gonna come after that. I do have my like big epic fantasy that I mention in every video, which is like a Project Dragon, that I haven't touched in years, but it is something that I'm definitely going to write as well. And the more that I dabble in this world, the more ideas I get. I have an idea for a sequel to A Little Luck. And that's probably going to be something that I also release as well one day. I have ideas for short story collections and novellas and everything in this world specifically. I'm just at the beginning of my career, and I'm so excited that I could share this beginning of my career with all of you, and how much you guys have hyped up my books, been so excited for everything. And online, whenever you guys ooze with love about my books, I squeal and do happy dances on the other side of the screen. You guys are the best, truly. And I cannot believe it's been a year of a second story. And if you haven't yet picked it up, what are you waiting for? It is the perfect, sweet, soft, summery read. You will love it. I just know you will. So I've gone over like what the premise is. There's a whole bunch of different characters. Inside the book, you have a table of contents that shows you everything that's in here, lots of different chapters. There are 2 maps that I drew myself, one of the town of Aramount and one of Rivara as a whole, the whole world. Chapter headers that I drew myself. There's part headers that I drew myself, that I drew all myself. I put so much love and effort into these books. All of the illustrations on the inside are from me. I just want everyone who comes across something like this to love and just find a little soft, sweet place to land in my books. That is my goal. I just want to give people soft places to be and wonderful stories to read, which I guess is gonna kind of go out the window with Sage's story, because that's no longer a cozy fantasy series. But I hope at least I can create spaces that people find themselves in as well. There's also a character list at the back if you want help with pronunciation guides. Any of the weirder names I give pronunciation guides to, like Aurelius Damaris, the main character, Ari. And if you get lost as to like what terms are used, there's a glossary at the back that tells you what things are. God, I am so in love with my own books. And I know that's a little ridiculous to say, but it's also the best thing to say, because I think that this was such a fantastic place for me to start, and I hope I only go up from here. And you guys follow me the whole way, because that's the best part about this, is that I think writing is such a solitary career, and it's such a solitary thing to do, because it's just you in your head figuring things out and talking with characters who don't exist. I think without you guys and without my online community kind of supporting me and, you know, being there and cheering me on and cheering on these stories, I don't think I would be as successful in my own happiness towards these books, you know? I think without you guys, things would be very, very different. Even without you guys, I wouldn't have these stories out at all. Truly, I don't know if I would have even thought to have self-published without having this community, without creating my YouTube channel. So it's pretty great. And I thank you guys so, so deeply for that. From here on, I have plans, of course. You guys know I'm coming out with more books. 2025, there's gonna be another one for sure. Maybe even 2, depending where I'm at with Sage's story at the time. But there's definitely going to be a 3rd book in this series. And I am so excited for you guys to meet Mary and Zanvi, who are the 2 main characters in that book. I just need to actually get back to it. I've been so consumed with Sage's story recently. Aramount book 3 has been kind of put on the wayside, but I'm going to get back to it, and it's going to be ready for 2025. I'm so excited. And like special editions might be in the future in a couple years from now for these books. There's also going to be an audiobook. I wanted to have it ready for May this year, but just extenuating circumstances, and it takes such a long time to put together because I am doing it myself. I am voicing it myself. I am editing it myself. because in an attempt to save the thousands and thousands of dollars that I would have to spend to have other people do those works, I wanted to learn how to do it myself. So I was learning an entirely new skill. I am trying. It's going to be out this year at least. I can tell you that. So definitely look out for that. There's going to be an audiobook for A Second Story, and I am so excited about that. But yeah, eventually there's going to be special editions of these. I have ideas, all sorts of stuff. I'm so excited. I think the latest, newest thing that I decided to do was to get some like promotional bookmarks printed for myself. I got permission from my cover artist, of course, to use her art again with the covers, using the covers and like formatting them to fit these kind of square bookmarks. I am obsessed with these, and on the back they kind of act like business cards because I have QR codes that take people to a landing page on my website that has places where you can go buy books wherever you are in the world. I figured like that would be a good place, you know, a good thing to do for promotional materials. If I meet anyone in real life, or if I want to send people things, I just slide one of these in there as well. Because I think it's just a special little add-on thing. And as readers, what better way to have something promotional that people could actually use? It's a bookmark, right? Instead of just like a business card, it's a bookmark. So love this. Thank you to my beautiful friends Sophia and Yeleni for giving me this idea, and for all my friends for just championing this. Just in general, I'm so sorry, I'm getting like a little stuffed up because the more I talk, the more like the seasonal allergies are getting to me. I do apologize if my voice is changing. But yeah, thank you to all my beautiful friends in real life as well, who have been just so supportive of every instance of me as a creative from day one when I started my YouTube channel. They were some of my very first subscribers. They are always championing whatever I'm doing. And their excitement for my books when these came out was just unparalleled. I will never forget my friends sitting in my living room reading A Second Story out loud together at the launch party that I had. I will never forget my best friend from high school, who wasn't a reader up until like last year, picking up my book and writing the most heartfelt review of it. And now, like, because she's gotten into reading because of me and because of like people she's around, she's now finished my second book and loved it also. And she's just such a cheerleader. And just, yeah, everyone who I tell about it is so excited. It's been a fantastic year. I could not thank you guys enough for this. I guess it's been even more than a year because this whole journey started in 2022. But it's been a fantastic year since this baby came out into the world. I guess that's basically it. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. As I've said, you guys are the best. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Go celebrate for me. Have a cookie, have a muffin, get yourself a celebratory coffee from a local coffee shop, and think of me today and A Second Story and my boys, because it's a year old now. My boys are a year old, and my first book baby ever. It has been in the world for a year. It has been such a wild journey. Like, it has been in bookstores. It's been in my local indie bookstore on the shelves without me doing anything to get it there. I don't know how it happened. It just did. I've seen my friends pick it up and read it. I've seen people who don't read fantasy pick it up and read it. I've seen people fall in love with Ari and Finn and just, I don't know. I am so pleased. Thank you guys so much. And I'll catch you in another video very soon. Stay kind and keep on reading.